Gene Simmons, the legendary bass player and lead singer of Kiss, has lived much of his life in the public eye. With his distinctive long hair, his signature face paint, and his wild stage antics, he's earned a reputation as one of the most iconic figures in rock music history. However, behind the larger-than-life persona, there's another part of Simmons' story, the enduring, deeply personal relationship he shares with his wife, Shannon Tweed, while the world has seen them both in the spotlight. There's so much more to their story, one that's not just about the glitz and glamour of celebrity, but about long-lasting love, commitment, and the choices they've made over decades. Their love story is far more than a fairy tale romance. It's a testament to resilience, devotion, and the true power of partnership. Shannon Tweed, who became widely known as Gene Simmons' partner, was born into a completely different world than the one she would eventually inhabit. She grew up on a mink farm in Canada, an upbringing that might seem worlds apart from the entertainment industry, where she would later rise to fame. From an early age, Shannon's life was grounded in hard work, surrounded by the rhythms of farm life, the seasons, the animals, the dirt, and the constant demands that came with running a mink farm. This background shaped her in ways that may not be immediately obvious to those who later came to know her as a model, actress, and reality TV star. But it's essential to understand her early life because it played a pivotal role in forming the woman who would eventually captivate the heart of one of rock's most famous personalities. On that farm, Shannon learned the value of hard work. The work was laborious, often dirty, and required a level of perseverance that many people in the modern world might not fully understand. As a child, Shannon likely didn't have the luxury of endless free time. The daily responsibilities of taking care of the farm meant that she had to work for everything she had. This was not a life of comfort or ease. It was a life that required her to face challenges head-on, from the grueling farm chores to the ever-present pressures of managing the farm's operations. But, in a strange way, that tough start provided Shannon with the foundations of a strong, resilient character that would serve her. Well, in the unpredictable world of modeling and acting that lay ahead, growing up on the farm didn't provide Shannon with the glitz and glamour typically associated with show business. There were no private tutors, no luxurious vacations, and certainly no fame or fortune. Yet in many ways this grounding was invaluable. It kept her feet firmly planted on the ground as she ventured into a world of fame that could easily have swept her away. Her humble beginnings were always there to remind her of where she came from, even as her life began to take unexpected turns. When Shannon eventually transitioned into modeling and acting, it was an entirely different world. The entertainment industry was far removed from the farm life she had known. It was filled with its own challenges and its own set of expectations. For someone like Shannon, who had grown up in the shadows of animals and work, stepping into the spotlight was both thrilling and daunting. The world of fashion and acting was one of appearances, of shaping a persona, of presenting oneself in the most polished and glamorous way possible. Shannon was no stranger to hard work, and this new phase in her career required a different kind of effort, but it was one that she was ready to tackle. Her success in modeling and acting didn't come overnight, but over time Shannon began to make a name for herself. She appeared in numerous magazines, TV shows, and movies, slowly building a career that allowed her to navigate the bright lights of Hollywood. And it was within this world that she met Gene Simmons. Their relationship wasn't the typical whirlwind romance that we often associate with celebrity couples. Instead, it began quietly, gradually, as two people who found a deep connection over shared values and mutual respect. What started as an attraction would soon develop into something far more substantial, a bond that would last for decades, a partnership that would ultimately lead to marriage. At the time they met, Gene Simmons was already a household name. The frontman of Kiss, one of the most iconic rock bands of all time, he was used to living his life under the microscope. The flamboyant persona he created for himself as the Demon, with his black and white face paint, long hair, and outrageous performances, was the polar opposite of the quiet, grounded life that Shannon had known. Gene had already spent years in the public eye, gaining fame not only for his musical talents, but also for his larger-than-life personality, which was as bold and extravagant as his stage performances. Despite his fame, he was drawn to Shannon in a way he had never been drawn to anyone before. Their relationship grew over time, but it wasn't always smooth sailing. The entertainment industry, with its pressures and demands, can often place a significant strain on personal relationships. Gene and Shannon were no different. They faced their own struggles, the long periods of separation due to Gene's touring schedule, the challenges of maintaining a private life in a world that constantly sought to expose their every move. Yet despite these challenges, they both remained committed to each other. There was something deep and genuine between them, a bond that grew stronger with each passing year. Their relationship wasn't just about shared fame or mutual attraction. It was built on a foundation of understanding, respect, and loyalty. For 28 years, Gene and Shannon were partners, without the formality of marriage. Their relationship existed in the public eye, but they maintained a private world that was theirs alone. This period of dating without the pressure of marriage allowed them to truly get to know one another, to explore their relationship without the added expectations that a formal union might bring. During these years, they faced all of life's ups and downs together, from personal challenges to professional triumphs. They built a life as a couple, and by all accounts, their bond only grew stronger as the years went by. But as time passed, Shannon and Gene both came to realize that they wanted something more. They wanted to make their commitment to each other official. The couple finally tied the knot in a private ceremony, one that signified the culmination of their long journey together. It was a deeply personal moment for both of them, but it was also a public one. After all, Gene Simmons had spent his entire career in the spotlight, and Shannon had become a well-known figure in her own right. Their marriage, though it came after decades of dating, was a significant moment in both of their lives. The story of their long courtship and eventual marriage speaks to the idea that love is not always about rushing into things. Sometimes love requires patience. Sometimes it requires a deep understanding of one another's needs, desires, and quirks. Shannon and Gene took their time, allowing their relationship to grow naturally without rushing into a commitment for the sake of appearances. Their love was tested over the years by the pressures of fame, by the distance caused by Gene's busy career, by the many hurdles that come with being in the public eye. But through it all, they stood by one another. Shannon's story is a reminder of the importance of grounding. She didn't come from a world of wealth and privilege. Instead, she was shaped by hard work and a strong sense of responsibility. She wasn't a product of Hollywood. She built her career from the ground up. Her life on the Mink farm may have been far removed from the bright lights of the entertainment world, but it gave her the strength to endure the challenges of fame and to build a career that she could be proud of. And perhaps most importantly, it gave her the resilience to navigate her relationship with Gene Simmons, a man who, while charismatic and charming, lived much of his life under intense public scrutiny. For Gene, Shannon's grounded nature was something he admired deeply. In many ways, she was the perfect complement to his flamboyant, larger-than-life persona. She offered him stability, emotional support, and a sense of normalcy that he might not have found elsewhere. Their relationship was not just based on attraction. It was based on mutual respect and a shared understanding of what it meant to build a life together. They weren't just partners in romance. They were partners in life, weathering the ups and downs of the entertainment industry and maintaining a strong connection despite the pressures that came with their public personas. As they both grew older, their commitment to one another only deepened. Their marriage was not just a symbol of their love, but also a celebration of everything they had built together. Their shared history, their love for each other, and their ability to weather the challenges of life and fame together. In a world where celebrity relationships often burn brightly but fizzle out just as quickly, Gene and Shannon's enduring love stands as a testament to the power of commitment and the importance of building a strong foundation. Shannon's life story, from the Mink farm to Hollywood, from a model to a wife, serves as a reminder that the most important things in life are not always the flashy, attention-grabbing moments, but the quiet moments of love, loyalty, and dedication. Her journey is one of resilience, strength, and the courage to take risks and follow her heart. It's a story that deserves to be told, not just because she became the wife of a rock star, but because she built her life on her own terms. Staying true to herself every step of the way, their story also serves as a reminder that love doesn't have to follow a prescribed timeline. Some couples find their way to each other quickly, while others take longer. What matters is that they find each other at the right time and build a life that works for them. For Gene and Shannon, their love story was a slow burn, built over decades of shared experiences and mutual respect. And in the end, it was that deep connection, that commitment to one another, that made their marriage so special. In a world where relationships often seem fleeting, the story of Gene Simmons and Shannon Tweed is one that reminds us of the enduring power of love, patience, and commitment. Their bond is not just a public spectacle, but a deeply personal connection that has withstood the test of time. And in the end, that's what makes their story truly remarkable.